Elena Johnson stood in the middle of the living room, holding a warm cup of tea that suddenly felt cold in her hands. Michael stood across from her, his face stiff, his eyes avoiding hers until she forced him to look. She had asked him a simple question, a hopeful one, a dream she had carried since she was a little girl. But his answer came like a blade. "I don't want kids with you." The words cut through the quiet room, sharp and unforgiving. For a moment, Elena thought she had misheard him. She waited for a soft laugh, a gentle smile, a sign that he didn't mean it. But Michael's face stayed empty, almost irritated, as if he was tired of repeating something she should already know. Her throat tightened. What do you mean?" she whispered. "I mean exactly what I said," he replied, his voice flat and cold. "I don't want children. Not with you." The last part hit her hardest. Not with you. As if she was the problem. As if she wasn't enough. Elena felt her chest tighten, her heart beat loud in her ears. She had always imagined becoming a mother, holding a baby in her arms, raising a family with someone who loved her. She thought Michael shared that dream. He hadn't said otherwise. He had always brushed the topic away with jokes or gentle excuses, and she had believed he just needed time. But now, standing in front of her, he wasn't joking. He wasn't gentle. He wasn't even trying to hide the cold distance in his eyes. "Why?" she asked, her voice trembling. "If something is wrong, tell me. Please." "There's nothing to explain," he said as he looked away, already shutting the door between them. "Just drop it." But she couldn't drop it. She felt something deeper behind his words, something he wasn't saying. There was a stiffness in his posture, a secret in the way he avoided her eyes. It wasn't just that he didn't want children. It was that he didn't want them with her. She tried to step closer, to search his face for anything, pain, fear, frustration, but he stepped back. "Elena, stop. I don't want to talk about this." His dismissal felt like a slap. It wasn't just refusal, it was rejection. The man she loved, the man she had trusted with her life, was shutting her out completely. He acted like her dreams were a burden, like her heart was something he didn't want to hold anymore. A heavy silence filled the room. Michael grabbed his phone, as if the conversation was already finished, as if her heart wasn't breaking right in front of him. Elena stood there, frozen, feeling everything fall apart inside her. A single question echoed in her mind, louder than her pain. Why didn't he want kids with her? She didn't know then that this question would follow her for years. She didn't know that the truth was far more painful than she imagined. And she had no idea that one day, a girl she had never met, Michael's daughter, would show up at her door, searching for the truth too. Elena grew up in a warm and steady home. Her parents were simple people who believed in honesty, kindness, and family. They ate dinner together every night, talked about their days, and solved problems with patience instead of shouting. Because of this, Elena grew up hopeful. She believed life would go the same way for her. She wanted a loving husband, a small house full of laughter, and children she could raise with the same gentle care her parents had given her. She dreamed of those things since she was young. While other girls talked about careers and traveling, Elena imagined holding her baby, decorating a nursery, and teaching her child how to walk. Her dreams were traditional, but they made her happy. She felt sure that one day it would all come true. When she met Michael, she thought her dreams were finally becoming real. He was charming in a quiet, confident way. He knew how to make her feel special, asking thoughtful questions, remembering small details, opening doors for her. He made her feel seen. But there were small signs she ignored back then. Sometimes he pulled away emotionally during conversations. Sometimes he got irritated when she talked about the future. He changed topics when she mentioned children. But Elena told herself it was nothing. That every man had moments like that. She believed love could fix anything. In the early years of marriage, things seemed fine on the surface. They smiled for photos, visited family on holidays, and celebrated anniversaries with small gifts. But slowly, almost too quietly to notice at first, something started to change. Michael became distant. He came home tired, distracted, always with something on his mind that he never shared. When she asked if everything was okay, he brushed her off with a quick, "I'm fine. Just work." Their conversations became shorter. Their dinners grew quieter. Their laughter faded. Elena felt him slipping away, but didn't know how to stop it. When she suggested they start trying for a baby, Michael gave vague excuses. Not yet. Work is stressful. Let's wait a little longer. At first she accepted it. Then months turned into years, and his excuses became sharper, colder. He stopped even pretending to think about it. Meanwhile, her friends were getting pregnant, hosting baby showers, posting pictures of newborns. Her family gently asked, "Any good news yet?" Every question felt like a needle in her chest. She felt embarrassed, as if she was failing at something every woman should be able to do. She never told anyone how deep her shame went. She carried it silently, smiling on the outside while her heart ached on the inside. She began to wonder if something was medically wrong, if her body was the problem. She spent hours reading articles late at night. She even suggested going to a fertility doctor together, but Michael shut her down immediately. "Why are you stressing about this?" he snapped. "Just drop it." His frustration made her feel guilty, like she was asking for too much. She didn't know that his anger wasn't really about her request. It was about hiding something else entirely. Michael's work became his excuse for everything. He stayed late more often. He stopped answering her texts during the day. He left early on weekends for meetings. When he did come home, he stayed on his laptop or his phone, barely looking at her. Elena felt more like a roommate than a wife. The house that once felt warm now felt too big, too quiet. She would sit at the dining table alone, listening to the clock tick, waiting for him. Some nights, he didn't come home until after she was asleep. Some nights, he didn't come home at all. She tried to talk to him, tried to save their marriage, but he kept pushing her away, shutting doors she couldn't open. Slowly, painfully, Elena realized that the life she dreamed of was slipping through her fingers. She still hoped things could change, but deep down, fear had already settled in her heart. A fear that her marriage was falling apart and she was powerless to stop it. Elena was cleaning the living room one quiet afternoon when Michael's laptop made a small notification sound. He had forgotten it on the table before leaving for work. Normally, she never touched his things, but the sound kept echoing in the silent house. She walked over just to close the laptop, so it wouldn't make more noise. But her eyes stopped on the screen. An email was open. An email she wasn't supposed to see. The subject line froze her in place. Fertility test results, Michael Johnson. Her heart skipped. She felt her hands shake. Michael had taken a fertility test? When? Why didn't he tell her? They had argued about seeing a doctor so many times, and he had always refused. He had acted like she was the one overthinking. But here was proof he had gone alone. Her breath trembled as she clicked the message. It felt wrong to read it, but she needed to know. The email was short and clear. Your fertility is completely normal. No issues detected. Elena stared at the words until they blurred. Normal. Healthy. Capable. The problem wasn't him. So why didn't he want to try for a baby? Why had he avoided the topic for years? She sank onto the couch, the room spinning. A painful truth started forming in her mind. He didn't want children with her. It wasn't medical. It wasn't fear. It was something personal. Something he had been hiding. She waited all day for him to come home, her stomach twisting with dread. Each hour felt heavier. When he finally walked through the door that evening, Elena stood up, holding her phone with the email still open. "Michael," she said softly, "we need to talk." He looked tired, annoyed, as if he already didn't want to hear whatever she was about to say. "What now?" he muttered. Her voice shook. "Why didn't you tell me you took a fertility test?" He froze. For the first time, she saw fear flash across his face, then anger. "Why are you looking through my emails?" he snapped. "You never told me." Elena cried. "All these years, you made me feel like something was wrong with me. You said we shouldn't see a doctor, but you went alone. Why, Michael? Why would you do that?" He grabbed his bag, slamming it onto the floor. "I don't owe you an explanation for everything I do." "Yes, you do," she shouted, her voice breaking. "I'm your wife." Michael's face twisted with anger. "I knew you'd react like this. This is exactly why I didn't tell you. So you lied to me instead?" Elena said softly. Tears slipped down her cheeks. "You let me think I was the problem. You let me carry all that pain alone." Michael rubbed his forehead, frustrated. "I'm done talking about this." "Then tell me the truth," she said. "Why don't you want children with me? What did I do wrong?" His silence was louder than any answer. After a few long seconds, he exploded. He grabbed his keys, shoved past her and yelled, "I can't deal with you right now." The door slammed so hard the walls shook. Elena stood alone in the hallway, crying quietly. She had never seen him so angry. She had never felt so small, so unwanted. He didn't come home that night. And he didn't come home the next night either. Days later, he returned only to pack his clothes. He didn't look her in the eyes. He didn't say sorry. He didn't explain. "I'm leaving," he said coldly, as if she were a stranger. Just like that, their marriage cracked open completely. Elena watched him walk out of the door with nothing. No goodbye, no closure, no truth. And as the door shut behind him, she felt her entire world collapse. The marriage was broken. And Michael made sure he wasn't coming back. Elena spent the first few months after the divorce in a fog. The house that had once been her safe place now felt like a hollow shell. Every corner reminded her of Michael, his jacket left on the chair, his coffee mug on the counter. She tried to ignore it, tried to move on, but every memory stabbed at her heart. She cried herself to sleep some nights, and went through the motions the next day, hoping that time would ease the pain. She began rebuilding her life slowly. She threw herself into work, redecorated the house to make it her own, and reconnected with old friends. Still, there was an emptiness she couldn't shake. She missed the life she had dreamed of, the life she thought she was building with Michael. One afternoon, while she was trying to sort through old paperwork, a friend called with news that shook her all over again. Michael had moved to another state. He had changed his phone number. He had disappeared from her life entirely, cutting off every line of communication. The thought made her chest tighten. He had abandoned their marriage, their shared dreams, and himself in one cold move. Weeks later, she found herself scrolling through social media out of habit, sometimes to distract herself, sometimes just to see that the world was still moving on. That's when she saw it. Michael had a child now. Pictures of a smiling little girl, birthday parties, first day of school photos. The captions were warm, loving, normal. Her stomach dropped. He didn't want children with her, but he had found a way to have them with someone else. Elena sat in the quiet of her living room, tears streaming down her face. "He didn't want kids with me," she whispered, over and over until her throat hurt. The injustice burned inside her. She had carried the silent shame, the guilt, the worry that something was wrong with her. Meanwhile, he had been hiding the truth all along. Years passed. Elena focused on herself, on healing, on creating a life she could live with. She traveled a little, took classes she had always wanted, reconnected with friends, and tried to rebuild her confidence. She laughed again, though sometimes it felt hollow. She loved her work, enjoyed quiet evenings, and even learned to enjoy being alone. But the quiet pain of what she had lost never fully left her. Then one late afternoon, there was a knock at the door. Elena froze. She wasn't expecting anyone. She opened the door slowly and saw a teenage girl standing there, looking nervous but determined. She was small, with dark eyes that seemed to hold more questions than answers. "Are you Elena Johnson?" the girl asked hesitantly. Elena's heart skipped. "Yes, I am. Can I help you?" The girl took a shaky breath. I'm Michael's daughter. I need your help." Elena blinked, confusion flooding her. "Your father? But how?" Her voice faltered. The girl looked down at her feet, twisting her hands together. "My mom, she passed away recently. And I ran away from him. He's not nice. He's really hard on me." Shock, confusion, fear. They all hit Elena at once. Her heart raced. She didn't know whether to panic, cry, or hug the girl. Everything about this moment felt impossible. The girl's voice was small but insistent. "Please. I didn't know where else to go. You're the only one I know who cared about me, even if you don't realize it." Elena's mind swirled. She remembered Michael's coldness, his lies, the years she had spent healing from being rejected, from being blamed silently for their lack of children. And now here was a girl, his daughter, standing at her door asking for help, seeking safety, needing her. Elena swallowed hard. Fear and uncertainty battled with a rising protectiveness she didn't expect to feel. She could see the pain in the girl's eyes, the same kind of pain she had once carried. The girl continued, her voice trembling. "I can't stay there. He hurts me with words, with the way he treats me. I don't have anyone else." Elena felt a sharp tug in her chest. The house was quiet again, But now it wasn't just empty. It was ready to be filled with purpose. She knew she couldn't turn this girl away, no matter how complicated it was. "Come in," Elena said softly, stepping aside. "We'll figure this out together." The girl nodded, relief washing over her face. She stepped inside, and for the first time in years, Elena felt a flicker of hope. Hope that maybe, even after all the pain, life could offer second chances, and maybe motherhood could still find a way to her. Lily sat across from Elena, her hands folded tightly in her lap. Her voice was soft but steady, carrying the weight of years of confusion and pain. "Ever since I was little," she began, "my dad told me that Elena, you were the reason he never believed in family. That you made him afraid of kids, afraid of settling down." Elena's chest tightened. She had imagined a lifetime of shame for herself, but hearing it echoed in her daughter's voice, someone she had never met, hurt in a way she couldn't describe. She opened her mouth, wanting to explain, to defend herself, but Lily held up a hand. "There's more," Lily said, her eyes searching Elena's. "I found emails between my dad and another woman. They're from the years he was married to you." Elena's heart skipped a beat. Her hands trembled. "Emails," she whispered. "Yes," Lily continued. "Dates, plans, it was all there. He wanted children. He just didn't want them with you. He was already planning a different life, a different family, behind your back." The words hit Elena like a thunderbolt. She sank back into her chair, feeling the floor drop beneath her. All those years of guilt, all the nights she had blamed herself for not being enough, for being the reason they couldn't have children. It hadn't been her fault at all. It had been his. Lily leaned forward, her voice firm now. "He used your silence, your worry. He made you feel broken. He made you carry shame that wasn't yours. He weaponized it. That's why he told you those things about fertility. He wanted you to feel like the problem, so he wouldn't have to take responsibility for what he was doing." Elena closed her eyes, memories flooding back, the arguments, the nights of tears, the crushing sense of failure, the pain she had carried in secret, the silent longing for a life she had been denied. She felt every moment again, as raw as the first time. But then Lily reached into her bag and pulled out a small envelope, yellowed at the edges. "There's one more thing," she said softly. "I found this in his drawer." Elena's hands shook as Lily handed her the letter. She recognized her handwriting immediately. It was the letter she had written years ago but never sent, the letter in which she had poured out her heart. Every word, every hope, every dream, every heartbreak was there on the page. She had never thought anyone would read it. She had never imagined it would resurface like this. Tears blurred her vision as she read the letter again, aloud this time, her voice trembling. Her love for Michael, her longing to be a mother, the pain of rejection, and the hope that someday he would see her heart. It was all there, her truth, untouched by lies or betrayal. Lily watched silently, her own eyes glistening. "It's beautiful," she said quietly. "He never deserved to have that from you." Elena's shoulders shook, and she buried her face in her hands, sobbing. For the first time in years, she allowed herself to feel the full weight of her grief and her relief. The truth had been revealed. She hadn't been the problem. She hadn't been weak or broken. She had loved honestly, deeply, and completely. And now, for the first time, she could let go of the guilt, the shame, and the years of quiet pain. Lily reached out, placing her small hand over Elena's. "You didn't fail," she said softly. "He did. And now we can start again together." Elena lifted her tear-streaked face and met Lily's eyes. For the first time, she saw hope shining there. She realized that the heartbreak she had carried for so long could transform into something new. A bond she had always wanted. A connection that gave her the chance to love, to care, and to nurture. The past was painful, but it no longer controlled her. She could finally breathe. She could finally begin to heal. Elena spent the next few days making sure Lily felt safe. She helped her unpack her few belongings, set up a small bedroom, and showed her where everything in the house was. She cooked simple meals they could eat together, and even helped Lily pick out a few clothes to make her feel more comfortable. Every small moment, from making hot chocolate to helping with homework, built trust between them. Lily slowly began to smile again. She laughed at small jokes, told stories about school, and shared memories of her mother. Elena listened, comforted, and guided her, feeling a bond grow that she had longed for her entire life. She realized that the love she had been denied as a mother wasn't gone. It was just waiting for the right person to give it to. And now, she was giving it to Lily. But peace didn't last long. One afternoon, Michael appeared at the door. His face was tense, his hands clenched. "Lily," he shouted, stepping inside before Elena could react. "You're coming with me. Now." Elena stood firmly in front of Lily. She had never done this before. Not with him, not with anyone. But something inside her had changed. "No," she said, her voice steady. "She's not going anywhere with you. You're not taking her." Michael's face twisted in anger. "Elena, step aside. She's my daughter. I can do whatever I want." "She is your daughter," Elena replied calmly. "But you are not her parent right now. You left her. You hurt her. And you've lied to both of us for years. I won't let her go back into that." Lily watched silently, fear and hope fighting in her eyes. Michael tried to argue, to shout, to pull her, but Elena did not move. She had spent years being silent, being hurt, and being pushed aside. Now she would not step back. "Lily needs safety," Elena said, her voice growing firmer. "She needs someone who will protect her, who will love her without lies or fear. That's me. That's what you cannot give her." Michael's anger began to crack under her words. He shouted again, but it no longer held power over them. Lily's eyes filled with understanding. The truth of her father's lies was unfolding before her. She realized he had never been the man he pretended to be. Soon after, legal intervention came. A judge reviewed everything. Michael's emotional abuse, his absence, his deception. Custody was given to relatives Lily trusted, people who could provide stability, love, and protection. Elena watched as Lily began to feel the safety she had been missing for so long. In the quiet moments afterward, Lily hugged Elena tightly. "Thank you," she whispered. "You're the one who stayed when I needed someone. You're the only adult I can count on." Elena held her close, feeling warmth she had never experienced before. In that embrace, she realized something she had been carrying for years. She didn't fail. Michael had failed her, had failed Lily, and had failed to be the man he pretended to be. Elena finally understood that her love, her patience, and her courage had not been wasted. She had survived the heartbreak, the lies, and the silence. She had become the person Lily needed. And in doing so, she had found the strength and love she had thought she would never experience. For the first time in a long time, Elena smiled without fear or guilt. She had not lost, he had. And she was finally free to embrace the life she deserved. Months after everything had settled, Elena's phone buzzed. She picked it up and saw a message from Lily. "You're the mom I wish I had." Elena read it over and over, a lump rising in her throat. She smiled through tears. For years, she had carried the pain of a marriage that had stolen her dream of being a mother. She had blamed herself for things she didn't do, let shame and regret cloud her heart. But this simple message made all of that fade. She realized motherhood wasn't just about biology. It wasn't about the person who walked out of her life years ago. It was about love, care, and presence. It was about showing up, even when it was hard. And now, in her bond with Lily, she had found the motherhood she had longed for. Elena felt a heavy weight lift from her chest. The weight of Michael's lies, the weight of her own self-doubt, the weight of years spent wondering if she had failed. She let it go, piece by piece, like leaves floating away on a stream. Sitting quietly, she looked around her home, once full of pain, now full of laughter, warmth, and hope. She thought about the life she had rebuilt, the love she could give, and the strength she had found in herself. And in that moment, Elena whispered softly to herself, a smile spreading across her face. "Losing him wasn't my tragedy, it was my freedom." For the first time in years, she felt complete. She was free from the past, free to love, free to live. And she knew that, no matter what came next, she had finally found her peace. Hey besties, thanks a ton for watching all the way through. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more. See you next time.